Welcome to mission number 8 of the solo/co-op Brutality Skirmish War game campaign with Miles and company from the Collegium Carnis. And they stumble upon a town that Miles had been to nearly a century prior. And he knew the people that lived there, and he said, you know what, I know we can stay for the night, we can get a good night's sleep, the people are very nice, whatever. So they get there, and as they always do, they're very careful, and they observe the town for quite some time, and he realizes that this town has been taken over by a highly technological gang, and his friends are no longer anywhere to be found. So this town in the swamps is now under control of some other nefarious people. So it does not take long of their observation for a merchant to show up with all sorts of weapons and gadgets and things like that for sale. So Reich points out that there are tons of people waiting in the wings to ambush this guy. There's a person right there behind that tree. Meanwhile, the blue guy is keeping the merchant's attention. And there's a guy with a Gatling gun there. There's another guy that's a sentry. There's another guy with a laser cannon back there hiding, and their leader is actually up on the roof on the other side, ready to rain death down. Not to mention, they have a pistolier back there, the blue pistolier. So this is the variation of list building where you take all of the same class if you want, but they can't take the same upgrade. So we have a hunter here, we have a ordnance right there because he shoots like globs of plasma. We have a marksman because she's got a sniper rifle. We have a pistolier back there. We have a shredder here with the Gatling cannon, and then we also have a sentry. So this guy is actually not going to be part of the battle at all. He's just a model for narrative purposes. And they decide, you know what, we can probably get on this merchant's good graces if we intervene right now before he gets mugged. And these guys are already somewhat distracted because they're about to ambush this person. So why don't we get our gang together, and we will come in and see how we can do. If we can defend this merchant, he might actually give us some stuff. It's at that point that Miles notices in the back of his vehicle here, one of the very few motorized vehicles that you can find, there is actually the part that he needs for Leeler, his boss back at the Collegium Carnis, the one that he destroyed, the item he destroyed from their machine, and he's going to come get it. So Miles is now definitely going to intervene because he knows that he should at least be able to barter for that part from this merchant very easily if he saves his butt. So he musters his forces, and let's see what happens. This is not a normal mission. We are just going to narratively set this up and see how it happens. Now, the enemy list is 9 points, so we are not going to be taking Lancer here, but we'll be taking the other people. And that means we have to use Gil. So Gil is at 3 insanity, and we're going to have to go ahead and take a willpower check to see if he succumbs to his insanity or he's okay for this mission. He's willpower 5. Let's do the willpower check, and he critically fails it. Let's see what we get on the insanity chart. That's a 7, which is unnerved. This model deploys within 6 inches of 2 ally models or begins the mission with a confusion token. So he is now unnerved, and he needs a little bit of babysitting whenever you deploy him in the beginning of the game. So, definitely could have been worse, for sure. So I'm okay with that. I could have gotten cowardice, pacifist or something like that. That would have made him completely unusable. But now we have to deploy him within 6 inches of 2 ally models at the beginning of each game, or he will get a confusion token. Alright, the deployment I've chosen is just a straight 10-inch range of deployment right here from this edge. So I put Dunch up there, and I put Luna right there, and hopefully they'll be able to take out some people. And then over here, farther in the swamp, I've got Gil deployed between within 6 inches of 2 other people, which is Miles and Reich. And let's see what we can do. We are, slightly outnumbered. I think they've got 6 people, we've got 5. But of course, we're all leveled up now, so let's see. I decided to just straight up roll off on who was going to activate first. We won that, so Reich runs all the way over here and charges from behind against this sentry because we didn't want him to overwatch on us. And Unfortunately, Reich does nothing to him, and he does nothing to Reich, so that was a pretty lame start to this. This sniper lady knows exactly how precarious her situation is. In case I get a knockdown result, she's gonna fall a long distance. So she's gonna go after my only ranged person, which is Dunch. She shoots twice, she's at higher elevation, she re-rolls it, and he is able to save all of it. He has a save of 6, not to mention cover, so he's able to save all of it. He actually gets hit 3 times because she did a critical hit, and he does a critical save. So he saves 4 times, and she hit him 3 times. We activate Luna next. She phases right through this rock, comes down here and assaults this ordnance guy from behind. Believe it or not, because she's an assassin, her wound chart rolls for Aura did the damage to him. She was not able to successfully hurt him in close combat, and he also did not hurt her. So we have a lot of whiffing going on in this mission. I don't know why. I cannot believe how this is going. The next activation is this Gatling guy. He turns around so he can't aim, but he's a shredder. He shoots at Reich. He is re-rolling hits, but he only hits him 1 time, and Reich is able to save it with his save of 3. So, just more nothing. Our next activation, Gil runs across the pond and charges this guy, the sentry, from behind so he doesn't get shot at. And he's able to do 1 damage to him and a bleeding token. The guy does nothing back to Gil. Alright, I knew the Pistolier would be trouble because he runs up here using a free action from his leader, and he shoots both of his shots and his 2 6-inch range shots into the back of Luna, unfortunately. And he rolls 4 hits, and 1 of them is a critical. So he gets 5 hits on poor Luna. Might as well go ahead and roll and see what she gets. Her save is a 4, and she's getting no cover. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Luna is dead. Just straight up murdered in the first turn. So, Dunch successfully hits her twice. She fails both of them. Because he's a shredder, he gets 2 wound chart rolls per wound. So, I'm really hoping, even though he won't kill her right now, I'm really hoping to do a knockdown on her, which I need a 7 for a knockdown. So please, Dunch, roll a 7, because that would be hilarious. No 7s, but he outright kills their leader with a 10. So that is pretty gross. He does a confusion on her, a critical damage on her, broken ribs, and a disarmed. So essentially, she goes... and just falls down here. So, Dunch has put in some work today. The blonde guy right here turns around and shoots into the back of Gil, but luckily he does 3 hits in the rear, but Gil has a save of 4. He makes 1, he fails 1, and then he makes another one with a critical save. So he saves all 3 hits. Lucky bear. Next up, Miles just saunters up here like the awesome dude he is, and he gives a time slip to himself and 1 to Gil right here. And then he puts up 2 line of sight blocking barriers, so he's pretty well protected from most of the shooting on this field now. And he is going to staunch his own bleeding. He loses a hit point, but the bleeding token is gone. The final activation is this plasma gun gunner guy here, right here. He didn't really want to shoot. He actually had line of sight to Reich, but that probably would have also killed his partner with just 1 hit point left. So he decided not to do that, and that is the end of their turn and ours. This is now the beginning of turn 2. And just making up some stuff, you see how there's giant turrets for this merchant. I'm assuming this guy is kind of just the face. He's going to go run inside the building, so he's not part of this mission. And of course, the merchant is going to go run up and jump inside his vehicle for protection. Meanwhile, these turrets are going to automatically shoot people, so they're just going to open fire on anybody that's nearby. So I'm going to roll 3 dice. On a 1 or 10, they take a damage and have no saves. So let's, I can pick one, and the enemies will pick one. I would say the enemies should pick Gil. I think the enemies should pick Gil. So, there's a 1. And there's actually no save to it, so he doesn't get to use his time slip. Gil gets shot, and now I'm going to pick this ordnance guy, because he really... No, you know what? I'm going to choose the Pistolier. He really scares me. And we got a 10 on that one. So the Pistolier guy also loses a hit point, which is nice. And now he's down to 2. And now, that was at the end of turn 1. I said beginning of turn 2 just a little too prematurely. Now we're going to roll on the event table for solo gaming. The event table we just rolled was actually a lucky find, so we got 2 gold added to our treasury. It only works if your leader is alive. Our leader is alive, so it must have been sitting right there in that pond. He found some gold. So we got to add that. That was exciting. Now, we're giving 2 victory points for each kill because there are no objectives here. So, and the leaders give 1 extra. So right now, they have killed Luna for 2 points, and we have killed their leader for 3, so it's 3-2 us at the beginning of turn 2. So we have both lost somebody, so let's roll off. We're going to be red, they're green. So they get to go first, and let's see who they activate first. They activated this pink guy first. He moves over there, and he takes shots at Reich. He's able to do 1 unsaved damage to Reich and an agony. So they figured they better activate him before stuff gets real. We activate Dunch next, and we figured we better go after the blue guy right between those 2 trees. So he successfully disarms him and gives him a fracture, -2 movement, and takes a hit point off of him. Unfortunately, Dunch was not able to kill him, because those 4 re-rollable shots at 6 inches are devastating. Knowing that Miles can be a real pain in the butt, being that he's got these barriers to put on and the time slip, the Hunter aims through this line of sight blocking barrier and manages to hit Miles twice. Miles fails to save both of them. He uses his time slip to save one of them, but he does take a hit point. He's now at 3, and he gets -2 fight skill, so he gets sliced. We activate Gil. Gil runs up here and charges this guy. I just knocked over Dunch. This guy, and does 2 damage unsaved to him and blinds him, which is awesome. He also gets -2 fight skill. So this guy does nothing back to Gil. The next person to activate is this plasma gunner here, this ordnance. He fires a shot at Reich. He hits twice, which means he also hits Gil twice, and he also hits the Gatling guy twice. The Gatling guy already has a save of 5, and he's in full cover compared to Reich. If you look down there, he's in pretty good cover. So Reich is able to save one of them. He fails another, takes a hit point, and is disarmed. Gil actually fails both of them, but he uses his time slip to save one, so he takes 1 damage and 2 burning tokens because of the plasma. And believe it or not, this guy is able to tank both of the shots because he has a high save. So that could have ended badly, but it was worth the risk because this guy is going to be blinded for his next turn anyway. So they really weren't missing much except for two victory points. Miles, the next one to activate. He is able to give himself and Gil a time slip, but he fails the casting for this barrier, so he has to use his time slip to make it go off. He puts down 2 line of sight blocking barriers. So this is going to be a really good benefit to our team. Let's see what we can do with it. I just now realized, stupid me, that I failed to remember that this guy is a sentry, and when Gil assaulted into the shredder, completely forgot to do his sentry abilities. So I just re-rolled him now, or I just rolled him for the first time now, after Gil's movement, and he failed both of them. But let me re-roll the other 2. Gil is a dex of 5, so 6 or higher, and he failed. Alright, well, he fails both of those 2. So he failed all 4 of the shots against Gil. That's kind of fortunate, but I just completely slipped my mind. Oh well. The next activation is this blue guy. He was disarmed, so he picks up his weapons so that he can shoot again, and he doesn't do anything else because that took his movement. And that appears... No, actually, we still have Reich. I almost thought we were done. Let's roll for Reich's willpower because of his agony. It's a willpower 4, and Reich is a willpower 5, so he passes that. We take off the willpower, the agony off of him, and gee. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to stand still so he can pick up his weapon, quote-unquote, fix his tentacle that got broken, and then we're going to go ahead and try to charge up here. We're going to need about a 5, so, but actually these guys use gadgets, so he actually needs a 7 to get up there. But he actually is a skirmisher, so why don't we do our free run, which is 4, so that'll get him to here. There you go. And then he'll charge. He'll need a 2-inch, but it makes it a 4-inch charge. 5-inch charge. He gets in there. He's up here. I have a bit of a wobbly model syndrome, but he gets in there. And Reich gets 2 attacks, and he's got 1 through 7. Hit with both of them, a 2 and a 6. The guy has a 1 through 5 save. He saves 1, fails 1. Reich's going to do piercing on the wound chart. Well, it actually doesn't matter. The guy's only got 1 hit point left. And the guy strikes back on a 5, and he fails that. So that's 2 more victory points for us. It's 2 experience for Reich, and that guy is now dead. So that's 1 less person we got to worry about. And honestly, Reich should probably be up here now. Alright, this is the end of turn 2. We're winning 5-2 right now. The merchant's guns are going to target Reich. I think that's what the enemy would target. So on a 10 or 1, Reich is just dead. And no 10s or 1s. That's good. And we're actually going to pick that stupid pistolier guy. Let's see if those guns can kill a pistolier guy. 10 or 1. There is a 10, and there's also a 1. So pistolier guy is completely murdered by these turrets of guns. And that gives us actually 2 more victory points. So that's actually pretty good. We're leading now 7-2 at the top of the turn 3. Alright, on the event table we rolled Raging. So apparently this guy and this guy meant a lot to this group because they are now Raging. They each get +2 movement and +2 fight skill for this game turn. So that's kind of a big deal. The Ordnance guy decides to activate first. He can barely see Reich, but he can see them. He hits Reich twice, believe it or not, which also hits Gil. The purple guy on their team is just out of range. So Reich has save 1 through 4 after modifiers. Actually, no, 1 through... Hold on. He's got a save of 1 through 2 after modifiers. This is not good. So he saved 1... and lost 1, but poor Reich is actually dead. He lost his last hit point. So, Reich is dead. Now let's do Gil now. Gil has a save of 3 after the modifiers. So he critically saved 1 and he failed 1. So actually Gil is fine. He's the one, ironically, that had the time slip, and he did not need to use his time slip. Gil is the next one to activate. When he activates, he actually takes a burning token, unfortunately. And so, I mean, he takes a wound from the burning. He can't use the time slip for that, unfortunately. So then he charges into the sentry. The sentry shoots off and does not do anything to him, luckily. He actually doesn't hit at all. They get into close combat, and Gil is able to kill the purple guy, which is excellent. So Gil is down to 1 hit point, and the purple guy is now dead. We are, believe it or not, at 9-4, which this is turning out pretty well in our favor right now. So we'll see what else happens this turn. Dunge is the next one to activate. He is able to do 1 unsaved damage on the Ordnance guy, dealing double 5s on the crushing chart, and that is -4 willpower to this guy. So if we can somehow confuse him, oh man, he's down to willpower 1 right now. The next person to activate is this blonde guy right here, not blind guy. And he uses one of their feats for gadgets, and he gives Gil a confusion and a pause token within 6 inches, and that's just a free action. Then He aims and shoots at old Miles, and he does 2 unsaved damage to Miles and gives him a -2 dexterity and a bleeding token. So Miles is in serious trouble now. He's got a bleeding token and he's got 1 hit point missing. So the next time he activates, actually, he's the last one to activate. Miles is about to bleed out, and that is, man, there is literally nothing we can do. He's my last activation this turn, so that is really upsetting. So Miles, I might as well just activate him now. Miles activates, he loses his last hit point to that bleeding before he can do anything else, and then his barriers go away, and Gil's time slip goes away, and the other barriers go away, and they get 3 points for that. So now it's 7-9 at the end of the bottom of the 3rd turn, and that was their last activation and our last activation. At the end of this turn, we're going to see what the turrets do from the merchant. On a 1 or 10, Gil takes a hit point with no saves, and he is safe. No hit points lost from him. The next person we need to activate is the Gatlin person. The turrets are going to shoot at 1s or 10s, and he's dead. We got a 9, a 9, and an 8. So the turrets might be running out of ammunition, believe it or not. They're just not shooting as well as they were. Plus, they're automated, so meanwhile, the merchant is still hanging out in that. So we've got two people down to 2 people, and we've got Dunch at full health, and the blonde guy at full health, and Gil at 1 hit point, and that guy at 1 hit point. So let's see what happens with the event table. I'll just go ahead and roll it right now. And I got a 21. A 21 on that table. And that is valuable object. Currently farthest player from... Wait, I'm sorry. The objective currently farthest from player models now awards 1 extra victory point each time it's activated this game turn. Well, we don't have objectives, so let me re-roll that. And I'll get a 13. And a 13 is lucky find. Your leader finds 2 gold. Well, guess what? My leader is dead. I rolled that once before, and we could have got that if the leader was alive, but being that he's not, I'm going to say that there's more gold in that pond, and being that our leader is not alive, we can't get it. The blonde guy has really been putting in work this game. He moves around this tree so that Dunch can't see him so well, and he manages to do 2 unsaved damage to poor Gil. Gil just recovered, well, technically he didn't recover, from insanity, and now he's already starting his very next mission with another insanity. So that's another 2 points, and that actually puts the score 9-9. So we have completely squandered... He fell off the rock. We have completely squandered our good lead we had a minute ago. And this is actually pretty interesting. Dunch targeted the ordnance guy, did 2 hits, and the ordnance guy had pretty darn good cover, so he was at a 7 save. And he rolls a 10 and a 6. So we remove the last hit point from this guy. Dunch gets 2 victory points for our team, and we are now at 11-9. And that is actually the last activation of this turn, because both of the people that were already here did not activate. So Dunch is the sole survivor, and believe it or not, we win this game 11-9. I'm assuming that as soon as this guy quits hiding around this tree, Dunch is going to take him out with some shredding. And you know what? Just because there's only 2 people left, let's see what a shootout would look like between these two. I'm gonna forget that it's the end of turn 4. Let's go indefinitely until they can kill each other. Alright, at the beginning of turn 5, we're going into overtime here. We're 11-9. Best case scenario for them, they tie the game up 11-11 and steal a victory from us. Worst case scenario, we will win once we kill this guy. Now, he's a hunter. He can aim straight through that tree. So right now, Dunch has no direct line of sight to him, so he cannot shoot him. But this guy aims through the tree, and he hits Dunch twice, and Dunch is able to save both of them. So now, Dunch's activation is next, but this guy uses one of their gadgets, traits, to give himself protect. And we'll see what Dunch can do if he can get any line of sight on him. Dunch is able to drop down, makes his dex save, and shoots at him, hits him twice, but with the partial cover and the protect, he's able to save them all. The blonde guy fights back and deals 1 hit point to poor Dunch and gives him a bleeding token. So as soon as Dunch activates, he's going to lose another hit point, and he's going to remove his own bleeding token. That's his activation. Come on, Dunch. This guy is going to aim at Dunch one more time. Let's see if Dunch dies. He needs a 5 or higher. He got 1 hit, and Dunch is a 1 through 6. Saved it! Excellent. So Dunch saves it. Dunch decides that he might actually have a better chance of assaulting this guy, and he does. He's got because of our our horror faction trait we get, he's going to be giving this guy -1 weapon skill anyway. So he comes over here, he runs and charges. Dunch has a fighting skill of 7, believe it or not. He only gets one base attack, but 1 for the charge. He's able to do 2 wounds on this guy. He knocks the guy down and gives him a fracture, -2 movement. So now, let's see what happens. I figure so that you actually believe what I'm rolling here, I better roll it on camera. So Dunch might be dead now. This guy has to get up, so that sacrifices his movement. Dunch is a dex of 6, so he needs 7 or higher to hit. Fails both of those. Dunch is going to go ahead in for the charge again. A 7, even with the -2, is fine. He's going to run in here. And let's see if Dunch can smash face. Fight skill 1 through 7. He hits him twice. The guy's got a save of 1 through 4. Fails them both, and Dunch kills him. But can the guy strike him back? He's got a fight skill of 4, -1, fight skill of 3. And if it weren't for our horror faction trait, this guy would have hit. So Dunch is the victor, and this guy is murdered in close combat by Dunch. This is the second time good old Dunch has done something really cool in close combat to win us the game. So that actually gives Dunch, that puts us at 13 to 9. And that gives Dunch 2 more victory points. So that's really awesome. And that's 1 more win towards our goal of 5 wins to win this campaign. So let's say, if just out of curiosity, would Dunch have also died if it were not for our -1 fight skill? His save is a 1 through 6, and he would have rolled an 8. So they would have actually killed each other in close combat. But Dunch had just that little bit of an edge on him because of the fear. And now we're going to be able to talk to this merchant, and I think he's probably going to be willing to help us out because we did not try to rob him. So when all of the dust is settled and the merchant comes back out of hiding, he comes up to Dunch and goes, "Excuse me, you giant monster. Would you like anything out of my cart? Because I could not thank you enough for saving my hide. I greatly appreciate you guys putting your bodies at risk, and I'm sorry that a bunch of your friends died. And of course, these people are not, they have respawned back at our camp, but they're not here." So Dunch knows exactly what Miles wanted. And he goes, "Is there anything I can help you with?" And Dunch comes over here and grunts and points at that green thing right there. And the merchant says, "Happily, yes, it's really not that valuable anyway, so here, you can have it." And Dunch is able to get that and procure that for Miles. Miles is going to be super happy with Dunch after this. At the end of this game, Dunch walked away with 7 experience. That bumped him up to 2.5 points cost. It gave him an extra save, an extra hit point. It bumped up one of his passive skills. And he also gets 1 power applied to him each turn automatically with no roll. So I chose Time Slip. So he's that good that he can just choose to pass something. Gil got 3 victory points, and that improved, I think it was one of his passive skills. Same thing with Reich, got a new passive skill, Surveying, and Lancer got a new one, Execution, and Miles did not improve at all. He got 1 victory point just for winning the mission. And Luna got 2, and that put her to, it was one of her passive skills. But ironically enough, all of these passive skill rolls are failures, except for Dunch. He came home, he had so much energy after that win, he built something new onto our base, a new addition for somebody new, And also, Luna passed her quick learning roll, so she got an extra victory point. I mean, an extra experience. So other than that, that is it for this game. We will explore next. Alright, we're going to roll on the exploration chart. Because Reich now has the surveyor abilities, gets +1 on this chart, so let's roll. He's going to be the leader. A 10! So, lucky, you found a merchant, or you can choose the result you want on this table, is what it says. Honestly, we do have, 8 gold at this point. We could go visit the merchant. Let me think for a second. Yeah, let's go ahead and visit the merchant, because we also have haggling with, who's got it? Gil has haggling, so we might be able to get things at a cheaper... Well, ultimately, we ended up spending 6 of our 8 gold to buy 2 soul gems, and we removed an insanity from Miles and from Reich. Unfortunately, Gil was not in the mood or was not able to haggle at all. We rolled for both times, and if he would have been able to save us 1 gold, we would have been able to have that 3rd gold we needed to buy 1 more soul gem, but he was not having it. He must feel bad after getting beaten pretty bad this game. Personally, not the team, but he got beat up pretty bad. Anyway, I know this mission went on a little long tonight. I had a lot of fun with it. It was a real nail-biter to find out whether or not Dunch would be able to take out that other shooter, so that was really fun. And we are very close to finishing this campaign. We only need 1 more victory, so that is pretty exciting. Thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.